Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode on Forward. I am so excited for you to be here today because I have an amazing guest, Chris Mahan, who is the business owner, coach, speaker, and author. He's just done so many incredible things, and I think you are absolutely going to love his journey and what he does. So, Chris, welcome. How are you doing?
Oh, Lydia, it is so good to be with you. I'm glad that I had this opportunity and just looking forward to our time together.
Oh, me too. And honestly, I cannot wait for others to learn more about you because you are helping so many people. And I think that it's incredible what you're doing. So why don't you let everyone know what do you do and what your business and life looks like right now?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Chris Mahan. I am a business optimization specialist. That means business owners, small, medium-sized businesses, hire me to help them basically to work at doubling their revenue within the next 12 months without a great deal of extra expense for marketing and advertising. I've been doing this specifically with the program that I use right now for about a year. It's a system that's being used around the world in all different types of businesses and has just shown great potential and great results. And in particular, I like to throw this in because, it's not all about making money. In fact, when people oftentimes ask me what I do, I tell them that I help save marriages, help save important relationships, help save their sanity, and in some cases, even save their lives because the distractions, the destruction that financial instability has on people is just devastating.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And that's so powerful. And I love that you word it that way because it's really at the end of the day, you're not just helping with the finances, but it's about their lives and having that stability, correct?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and that is incredible. And does that connect with the coaching and the books that you also have? Because I saw you had two, is that right?
Actually, I have four right now.
Oh my God.
I have two on my website, but yeah, I have four different business books.
Mhm.
Um, uh, can I share just a little bit about my background as to why I do what I do?
Yeah,
Would that
I
be
love
all right?
to hear it. Yes, please.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I mentioned the devastation of financial issues, financial difficulties.
Mhm.
Um, just about 22 years ago, I was and it was due to a lot of personal, I made a lot of mistakes in my finances and so on. And um, I was just swimming in a sea of debt. My credit cards were all maxed out. Every month I was juggling who I was going to pay. I was on the verge of bankruptcy, foreclosure,
Wow.
and all of that led to a really deep depression. And unfortunately, that led to the demise of my marriage. I lost contact with my two sons for over a year. And it ended up with me attempting suicide because I really felt like that was the only way that I could get away from my pain, my embarrassment, all those things that were all wrapped up that
Mhm.
had their root in the fact that money problems, money issues.
Mhm.
And I was not successful, which is a good thing because over the last 22 years, I just had so many blessings. It's hard to count sometimes. And so, Lydia, that's why I do what I do, because again, I know firsthand the effects that financial instability can have. And entrepreneurs face that all the time.
Mhm.
And so my desire is to help them overcome those financial obstacles so that they really can enjoy the other important aspects of their lives.
Yeah, oh my God. And thank you so much for sharing that because I'm sure that there's a lot of people that can relate to that, not only the struggle of financially, but mentally and everything that comes along with that. So I feel
Mhm.
like many people will be able to connect with your journey and understand that, there is another way and that
Yes.
it can get better. So that's
Mhm.
powerful. Oh my God. And it's just so crazy. So you were in the midst of this and then that happened and you figured, okay, there must be something I need to do differently, right?
Yeah, and life has a way of throwing you curveballs. About a year after all this, after my divorce, I met another wonderful woman. We started dating. We met online, believe it or not, and started dating, and we were married. We've been married now for 22 years,
Wow.
and my relationship with my boys has been reestablished, and we're in a good place now. She
Wow.
has a son, so I've got actually three sons now.
Hmm.
But my wife worked for a large orthopedic company,
Oh.
and unfortunately, the parent company um, decided to acquire another large orthopedic company. And so, because of the government regulations and everything, they were told that in order for that to happen, they had to cut their workforce by 7% across all of their businesses.
Mm.
And so, here it was 2010, actually 2009, when my wife found out she was going to be one of the ones who was let go from that position.
Mhm.
And so in 2010, we started our own business. And it was basically a lot based on a lot of connections that she had. Our first business, and which we still have,
Mhm.
centers on medical writing. And so, because of the contacts she had through the company she'd worked for, we started working. We actually started that business, like I said, in April of 2010. By November, we built it up enough, and there were some other personal crises going on in our lives. I quit the job that I was in and began working with her full time in our business as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like I said, life has a way of throwing us curves, and it's not always. I mean, when we're in the midst of it,
Hmm.
it just looks like the world's crumbling around us. Like I said, my wife lost her job through no fault of her own. She'd been in that company for 20 years, had won all kinds of awards and everything, and then all of a sudden one day they said, because of this restructuring, we're going to have to let you go.
Hmm.
What a blow. And then when I started working with her full time, part of the reason that I did that is we had moved her mother in with us. Her mother was in her early 80s. She was still in pretty good health, but we really felt a lot more comfortable having her right there in our home, being able to take care of her. And just about the time we started our business, we found out that she had stage 4 breast cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And by November, so my wife was working at home, taking care of her mom, working, and I was still working outside the home at that time. Things were just getting to the point where she couldn't handle it on her own, and so I quit the job that I was in. And like I said, we built our business up enough that I was able to do that and begin working full time. So even though those two terrible things happened in our lives,
Yeah.
um, they led to some good outcomes. And part of that is just because we persevered, because we had a lot of support from other people.
Oh, and that's so good. That
Mhm.
support, it really is, when you're down, it's what really helps you. Just not even get up. It's kind of like, okay, like,
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I ended up deciding to be a coach. Like I said, our first business was primarily writing, which meant that I was researching and sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours a day. My DNA is I like to interact with people.
mm,
And so in 2016 was when I decided to go into coaching. And exactly what I just said is part of the big reason, is because the way that I was able to turn difficult circumstances around was because of the support that I was receiving from other people. And I wanted to do that for others. I wanted to be the kind of person that could help them, not just in their bad times, but even in their good times, to make it even better.
oh, I love that. That's so good. And that's
Mhm.
true. You receive that, so you want to give it back in a way because you know the impact that it had on you, and it was tremendous.
Yeah. And one of the things that I see, Lydia, is the business owners that I work with, again, when their income begins to grow substantially, and it gives them all kinds of freedom. I mean, it gives them the freedom from that financial stress. It gives them the freedom from having to spend so much time on their jobs, and now they can spend more time with their family and the things that make them important. And to what you just said, one of the things that it does is it provides them the time and the resources to support the causes for which they're passionate about, because people who receive really do like to give. And in fact, the more that they give, the more that they receive.
Mhm. Aw, and that's such a plus to it, right? Like, you're not
Mhm.
getting your life in order and creating the life you want, but then you get to also reach a hand out for those that you also care about, organizations and whatnot, right?
Yes, yes.
That is so tremendous, and that is I'm, like, in awe, like, it is incredible what you're doing, and with the whole coaching thing, I did see the websites that you have, it's so crazy, but talking about just the coaching, I did see that you have a program, right, about, limiting beliefs and whatnot. Can you talk
Yes.
about that a little bit?
Sure, sure. Mindset is such a big issue, and I noticed that, I mean, you've already had some guests that have talked about mindset. Um, so for me, Lydia, and again, I mean, a lot of the things that I do are because of my past.
Mhm,
Um, I didn't have the greatest childhood. I mean, I was raised in, my whole life. I lived with my parents. They didn't divorce. But um, my dad was so busy and away from home all the time. I really didn't have a super close relationship with him.
mhm,
And my uh, my mom just did a lot of things that were damaging to my self-esteem.
mm,
And one of the things that I talk about in limit in overcoming your limiting self-beliefs is there's usually this voice in our head, and it's usually someone from our past, someone of authority, a parent, a teacher, a coach, a religious figure, whatever,
mhm,
who in some way or another tells us that we're just not enough and makes us question our self-worth, our abilities, and all those kind of things. And even when we're adults,
mhm,
when we start to make decisions and we decide that, oh, I'm going to try to start my own business, and then all of a sudden that voice comes in your head, and who are you? Who do you think you are that you've got enough brains and everything else to start your own business and to be successful? I mean, that voice just is something we really have to overcome. We have to come to grips with.
mhm,
And so, yes, and I do that in my life coaching is help with self-limiting beliefs. But even in my business coaching, that topic comes up because mindset, again, is so important. When we have those self-limiting beliefs, it's like a ceiling that we can't seem to get through.
mhm.
And usually that ceiling is way, way below our potential.
Yeah. No, for sure, and I think that everyone struggles with that. And so I think that just this conversation is always really important to have because, seeing the different perspective that everyone has on this and the whole mindset
Mhm.
thing, because at the end of the day, mindset is a lot. It's almost everything. Without it,
Yeah.
where are we? So I
But one of the things one of the ways that I approach that
Mhm,
is, we hear that voice, and we're even though we're adults, we're still processing it like the child that first heard that voice.
wow.
So one of the things that I work with clients, I hate to call them clients because by the time we start working together, I mean, we're more like friends. I mean, because getting to know them and really having empathy for what's going on in their lives and wanting the best for them. Clients is just kind of a sterile term that really doesn't define the relationship that I like to have with my with people that I work with.
Mhm,
But I encourage them to try to find what I call the originating event. Um, for me, a couple of things that I finally was able to go back to is when I was in kindergarten,
mhm.
I was expelled from kindergarten.
It's
I mean, I just had a hard time settling in, and I was the youngest in the class for one thing, and I just wasn't emotionally ready for it.
Mhm,
but anyhow, they talked to my parents and said, we really don't think he's ready. We don't think that he should come back. That's pretty bad when you get kicked out of kindergarten, right?
Yeah.
So, so my mom decided that she would teach me at home.
Mm.
Well, she was still pretty much, I mean, she was just out of her teen years. She had not finished high school. She wasn't a teacher. And whenever we try to teach really difficult concepts to, especially to our children, we usually don't have as much patience as a real teacher does. And my mom was trying to teach me how to tell time. Now, you can tell by looking at my gray hair that when I learned to tell time, that was not with a digital clock. It was with an analog clock, the hands and the numbers and all that kind of stuff. I was 5 years old. My mom's trying to teach me this, and she would move the hands on this toy clock that I had, which I learned to despise. And she would say, "What time is it?" And I just couldn't grasp it.
Mhm.
And of course I could tell that she was getting upset, which made me nervous and afraid, and couldn't think and couldn't process. And eventually she lost her temper and she slapped me, she backhanded me, knocked me out of my chair, gave me a bloody nose,
Oh.
and was standing there yelling at me, telling me how stupid I was and how I couldn't learn anything.
Hmm.
And that is the message that I went through life with for a long time, is I did not want to accept new challenges because I didn't believe that I could learn how to overcome them.
Mhm.
And there are other things that happened in my life. Like I said, that's just one originating event. But here's the reason that I share that, Lydia. It's not to badmouth my mom. Bless her heart, she was doing the best that she could. I was certainly a handful. When you get kicked out of kindergarten, you know that you're a handful, right? But by being able to identify that
Mhm.
as an adult, I'm able to process it. I know that at 5 years old, what she was asking me to do was beyond my capability.
Mhm.
So it wasn't that I wasn't smart enough. It wasn't that I wasn't talented enough. It was just that I wasn't ready. I wasn't emotionally ready for that kind of learning. I look at her, she lost her temper, but, like I said, she was just a very young parent herself,
Mhm.
not much more than a child herself. And so her reaction isn't a typical reaction from another adult. It was from someone who was going through a lot of emotional upheaval herself. So by being able to identify that, by being able to understand that, now I can process that event with my adult mind instead of the mind of that 5-year-old child that experienced it. And when I do that, I understand how untrue what she said at that moment really is.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things I encourage the people I work with to do, is to try to find out, what was it when this message first was implanted in your subconscious? Where did it come from? And then once you can identify that, is dissect that event and look at it now through your lens as an adult and see how much truth there really is to it.
Mhm. Oh my God, that's so powerful. And
I appreciate it. Mhm.
I'm definitely gonna try that. I'll let you know. But because it's so true how you were saying, we're still, unless we go to that origin of what happened and then process it as an adult, we're still carrying it around as the child we were when that.
Exactly.
And that is so I've never heard it said like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. One of the things that most people aren't, and like I said, I do this even with my business clients, because those unconscious beliefs that we hold, they they affect our belief system, and our beliefs affect our attitudes affect our actions, and our actions ultimately affect our results.
Mhm.
And oftentimes we want to change our results. We want to be better at our business. We want to be a better parent. We want to be a better, spouse, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And we just think, well, if I just change my actions, I'll change the result. But what we're missing is those actions will always default back to the actions that are based on our attitudes, which are based on our subconscious beliefs. So
Wow.
until we get back to that and deal with those, we'll never really be able to change the outcome like we would like.
Wow. That is so crazy. And that sounds like work that everyone needs
Mm,
to work to do to process, because you
yeah.
just think how much it can affect you. It's like, why aren't we doing more of this?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and people don't teach you this, right? Like you have to go and find someone.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. I mean, there are a lot of great coaches out there who talk about mindset, and we'll talk about self-limiting beliefs. And I mean, if any of your listeners right now, if this is really resonating with them,
Mhm.
by all means, I encourage them to seek out a coach that can help them deal with that.
Mhm.
Um, because, yeah, I mean, many of us can deal with stuff like that on our own, but when we get professional help from a coach, it moves so much faster. The results that we want come a lot quicker, and
Mhm.
it's actually a lot less painless.
That's always nice, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God. Yes. So definitely take Chris' advice, everyone. Find someone or him to actually process this, and that way we can move forward and actually see what we're actually capable of, because from what I'm hearing is that this is just going to keep holding us back
Mhm.
till we work with it. And you see so many people unhappy, hating their jobs or just not living in their, zone of genius, or not going for what they want. And you're wondering, well, what's holding you back? And, well, it could be that it came from their childhood then. They're
Exactly. Yeah.
not trying, right?
Mhm. Great observation. Yes.
That's so crazy. So I'm just loving this whole conversation because I just keep talking, Chris. You're saying whatever you're saying, it's incredible. Like we're all gonna be feeding on this.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, because even in the term self-limiting, um, there are so many things in our society, in our culture, that are already conspiring to limit what we can do, whether it's, our gender, our race, our religion. I mean, there's just, we live in a very divided culture right now.
Mhm.
And so those things are already pressing down on us. And we don't always have a lot of control over those, over the outside circumstances that are conspiring against us. And so what we need to do is we need to take care of the ones that are within our control.
Mhm.
And so when you talk about self-limiting beliefs, you're talking about beliefs that you hold about yourself that
Mhm.
are holding, and those are things that you can identify and you can deal with and you can overcome.
Mhm. That is so true. And it's just having that reminder that you can.
Okay. All right. I think we're back.
Yeah, like I think we're good.
Yeah, we froze up just your last comment. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. The last thing, I think I was talking, right? Just how self-limiting belief.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just how they hold
Yes. Mhm.
back. And I just love everything that you're saying, because we can go back and, well, for me, I can go back and see the times I didn't want to try something new, or the times that I didn't go after something I really wanted. And it's just understanding that it was probably a self-limiting thought that was like, you can't do it. or how dare you even try, right? So I think this whole conversation of self-limiting beliefs is so important. And what else do you tell people about it?
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes along with self-limiting beliefs, but one of the biggest things that business owners oftentimes deal with is the imposter syndrome, which
Um,
again, like I said, it's very closely tied to our self-limiting beliefs. But it's that thought that if people really knew me, well, they'd never come to me for advice. Somebody that's applying for a job. Well, if they really knew me, they'd never even consider me for this job or for this promotion or whatever it is. Who am I to teach other business owners how to run their businesses?
mm,
Um, it's those again. It comes from our self-limiting beliefs, but it's that fear that we're an imposter.
right.
And and for business owners, one of the ways that I try to help them deal with that
Mhm,
is they need to understand that perfectionism is a concept, but it's not a reality.
mm,
No matter how much they learn about their trade or their craft,
mhm,
there's always something more out there, and things are changing and evolving so rapidly that the technology that worked great yesterday isn't going to work so great tomorrow.
mhm,
And then when you talk about your business itself, many entrepreneurs go into business because they're passionate about what they do.
mhm,
um, Oftentimes I'll talk about like a bicycle repairman, man or a woman who just loves tinkering with bicycles. And you can bring them a box full of parts, and 2 days later they can bring you a fully functional bicycle. I mean, they are great at that, but not so great at running their business.
mm,
They don't understand the things that it takes to run a business. They don't understand that not only do they need to be able to use the skill that they have to accomplish and make a product or offer a service,
mhm,
but they're also responsible for their finances. They're also responsible for their taxes, I mean, just all the things that help to make a business run. It's the difference between working in your business versus working on your business. And most people are good at working in. That's doing whatever it is that they do. But the working on are those essential elements that are basically what keeps the doors open or not.
mhm,
And today in the realm of small businesses, the statistics are that you know, eight only eight, I mean, 18% of most businesses that begin this year will
mhm.
fail by this time next year. And
Wow.
that only 50% will survive to the 5-year mark, and
Mm,
only 35% make it to the 10-year mark.
wow.
And a lot of that is because people don't understand how they work on their business. What's important to that. So that's where my business coaching comes in, where I help them to optimize the things that they do, to help them optimize the strategies that they use in hiring and firing and marketing and all those things, so
Mhm.
that they can be successful at working on their business as well as working in it.
Yeah. Oh, and I love that you touched on that because I know I was very curious. I think other people are curious too. Like, why do you see businesses closing so often? Like one comes in, a year later they're gone, and you're like, well, because they're good at working in it. Like they know their craft, but running a business is a completely different ballpark, isn't it? So,
Yeah, yeah. And there's so much overwhelm there. Um, because when you stop and think about all the things that you have to do as a business owner,
mm-hmm.
uh, it can just it becomes so overwhelming, and you don't where do I even begin? And again, obviously, I'm a business coach, but I'm telling your listeners, if you're in business and you're ready to get a coach, it doesn't have to be me, but
Mhm.
I definitely encourage you to find somebody who can help you, because that's one of the things that a business coach will do for you. They will help you to develop a strategic plan so
Mhm.
that you know what to do in your business and when to do it and in what order to do it in. And
Mhm.
that begins to remove the overwhelm where it's just, all of these thoughts are bombarding you. I've got to do this and this and this and this and this. And where do I start? How do I even begin? And that's what a coach will help you determine, is what is the step that you need to take today and tomorrow and this week, this month, this quarter. And then they begin to break things down for you. I mean, most people have heard, there's a book out there entitled How Do You Eat an Elephant? One Bite at a Time. It's that concept of, instead of not following your dream because there's so much to do and you don't know where to start,
Mhm.
is get someone to help you to strategically plan it out and then do it one step at a time. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, and that's awesome that you mentioned because it's true. Overwhelm is real and burnout is real, and thinking you have to do everything all at once is so common. So I love the fact that you talked about breaking it up, not just quarterly, monthly, but like small daily actions you can take. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we get stuck.
Mhm.
We as business owners, we, like you said, burnout. We're no longer in love with what we're doing, which
Mhm.
is really not so much true, because again, our bicycle repair person loves repairing bicycles. In
Mhm.
fact, here they are, so overwhelmed by their business and not knowing what to do. And what do they do to take their mind off of it? Many of them will go out and tinker with bicycles, and you fill in the blank with whatever skill it is that you have.
Mhm.
It's not that we don't enjoy doing what we're doing, but we become so burdened by all of the business aspects of being an entrepreneur, and we
Mhm.
find ourselves stuck. And one of the things that I found very valuable is like, I'll do a personal retreat with my clients, my business clients. I call it a VIP day.
Oh.
And we'll get together for 6 or 8 hours over the
Mm.
course of a day, or in some cases we'll take a weekend. And one of the first things that I have them do is to go back and review the why of what they're doing.
Mhm.
For instance, I shared with you the reason that I'm a business coach is because I know firsthand the devastating effects that financial stress can have on a person and on his family. So, for me, when I'm at those places where I just, have hit that brick wall and feel like I'm not sure I want to keep on doing this, I
Mhm.
go back to my why. It is something that I'm very passionate about, helping others to avoid what I went through.
Mhm.
And then I find it good to think about being grateful for what I've accomplished.
Yeah.
Because again, we tend to minimize that in our own brains.
Mhm.
We don't stop to think about all the things that we've accomplished, all the ways that we have helped other people.
Mhm.
Um, and so by just really stopping and taking time to take stock of what we've done and to take pleasure in it, to take pride, and to be grateful that we've been able to do those kind of things. And then I'm in the right mindset to look at my goals again and to look at my long-term goals. Are they still feasible? Are they still things that I am passionate about? Is this really what I want to do with my life and with my business? If not, then I tweak them. If they are, then again, like you said, I go back where I break it down. If it's a 5-year goal, I break it down into years and then into quarters and then into months and weeks and days.
Mhm.
Um, and by doing all that and getting a handle on what I need to do right now, and again, sitting on that feeling of accomplishment, because I know that I can do it. I've done it in the past. I can do it again. Helps me to get past that unstuck part of my life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's awesome. And what I love that you shared is that it's only after you've done the gratitude and done what you're proud of and what you've accomplished and all of that, it's only then that you look after your goals
Mm.
now. Because I think having that changing that mindset of I haven't achieved enough, I haven't done enough, to, "Oh my god, this is what everything I've done, and now this is my plan for the next 5 years." That is so powerful because we tend to look at goals from the scarcity mindset of, "I haven't done enough, I haven't achieved enough." So
Yeah, and Lydia, the thing is, like I said, I think that again, it comes back to self-limiting beliefs. We
mhm,
don't really believe in ourselves sometimes as much as other people do. And
mhm,
so, it's an exercise that we can even do with other people. Like you said, it's easy for me to think at times, wow, I really haven't done much with my life over the last few years. Um, but if I go and talk to somebody who knows me well, a good friend, maybe a good family member, or whatever, and I say that to them and they look at me like, Chris, what in the world are you talking about? Don't you remember you
mhm.
did this and you helped these people and you did this? And it's like all those things I totally forgot.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have close friends, close family members who can kind of, snap us out of this. My wife jokes with me because every once in a while she'll get in a funk.
Mhm,
And so, I mean, I was in the ministry for 35 years. So, helping people, like I said, it's just in my DNA.
mhm,
And there are times, she'll just be in a funk and I'll say, well, do you want me to help you with this? And
mhm.
she'd go, yeah. And I will snap out of it. That's just, and I can do that. And it makes her laugh. I
Yeah,
mean, that's why I do it, is because I know that it's something that just breaks her tension and
mhm,
helps her to just reset her mind and look at things differently. And then she's ready to hear, here's the things that you've done, here's the differences you've made in people's lives. So
mhm.
it's good when we have someone like that in our life that can help us do that.
Yeah. Oh, of course, and it comes back to the whole have your support system, right?
Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
Because even when you're on your path to doing the things you want and you forget how important it is to have that support, and you forget, like you said, the things you've achieved, you forget how amazing you can be until someone else that loves you is like, "You've done so many incredible things, and I'm proud of you." And then you're like, "Oh, you're right, I have."
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of self-pride. Obviously, we still want to be humble.
Yeah.
Why am I able to do the things that I am? Well, God gave me certain gifts. God gave me, just passions. Then, I mean, yeah, I've been a student all my life, and I've learned new things. And I try to learn things from the people that are around me, even people that have nothing to do with what I do for a living, or what my profession is. But it's just, we can learn so much from others if we're humble enough to realize we need to be a student.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's got to be a balance. We need to take pride in what we've done,
Mhm.
but we don't want to become haughty about it. But
Yeah, that's true.
honestly, Lydia, most people really aren't haughty enough. They could all stand to grow a little bit in that area.
Yeah.
I'm sure we both know people who don't need to grow in that area, but most people, you know, need to own the things that they've done and be grateful that they've had that opportunity and proud that they've done it.
Oh, absolutely, and it goes through their heads sometimes, they don't acknowledge it, and it's like, "You're
Mhm.
amazing," and they don't believe you when you tell them.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, oh, so for sure. And oh, it's so much goodness. Like I've loved talking to you. Like this is
Oh, it's been a great afternoon. I really appreciate, and I appreciate what you're doing. I mean, your whole because I mean it is. I mean, that's what I want to help people do is I want to take them from where they are and move them forward.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's just the little things that are holding them back. And
Yeah.
so, I appreciate what you're doing, giving people the opportunity to hear so many different ways that they can break through whatever it is that's holding them in place so that they can move forward in their lives and enjoy their lives like they were meant to.
Oh, absolutely. At the end of the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Like
Yes. Yeah.
everyone else to also realize that they're capable of more. And it's just so good. And to everyone listening, go say hi to Chris. Like go follow him and whatnot. But Chris, let everyone know where they can go find you, find out to either work with you or find more information on you or your books.
Sure. Well, one of the things that I just did here recently, which is something that I would encourage, especially business owners that are in a service type thing. Just recently, I set myself up with what's called a 360 site. And you can go to my 360 sites and find out about it. Or even better is you can go to my site and there's a little link at the bottom that says get your own 360 site. But on my 360 site, there are links to my websites, to all my social media, to videos that I have recorded, to where they can download my books, where they can find out upcoming events and everything else. And that is simply chrism360.com. So CHRISM360.com. And when they go there, there's a little icon at the top that says connect with me. If you click on that, you have an opportunity to text me.
Yeah.
Text me your full name and your best email and say, I heard you on Forward. And I've got a special gift for you that will help you to boost your self beliefs, especially that's pretty timely since that's kind of what we talked about today.
Yeah. Oh, that is so good. Thank you so much, Chris. Make sure and I'll have the link at the show notes so everyone can go and say hi and get that bonus from you. And it has just been an incredible conversation. I cannot wait to have you back because I will have you back on this.
Oh, I would love to anytime, Lydia. It's been such a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, thank you so much. And to everyone, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week and have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.